And we are live for round 7 of TFL Season 5 with only 13 drivers at the moment. A lot of drivers unfortunately couldn't make it today, so we have a pretty small grid, but hopefully intense action throughout the field. And we are back momentarily. We had some technical issues, but we are back in China this time round. And as we said, round 7, only 13 drivers here today. And hopefully it will be an exciting round to watch. Because there are only 13 drivers, this means the qualifying will be a short qualifying session. And that short qualifying session is now underway. 18 minutes on the clock, and the clock ticking down. Ono is in the pit lane for Haas, his teammate Joey once again being here after 2 races of absence. And according to the Discord, it is going to rain for this race. So that might prove interesting. And probably a lot of drivers will be on the soft tires for the qualifying. No use being out on the mediums and qualifying on those mediums. And at the moment, I think the championship, let's look at the standings. I have to download the standings. And at the moment, yeah, Jerry van Bussel is once again leading the championship. He's leading the championship by 1 point from Ball. And he had some great few rounds in France and in England at Silverstone. And here he is in the Ferrari. He is currently second in the Drivers' Championship. 1 point behind Jerry van Bussel. And they are at 84 and 83 points respectively. In second place, so Burrell. Third place, Davey in the Mercedes was leading when we entered Silverstone. But we left Silverstone with Jerry van Bussel once again in the lead of the championship in the Papaya McLaren. Here he is. It looks a little bit gloomy, this qualifying session. Joey in the Haas is out on his outlap and is the first driver to start a hot lap in just a few moments time. Ball in the second place in the championship. Can he take the lead of the championship here in China? Shanghai International Circuit, of course. The last time we raced here in real life was in 2019, and in 2019 it was F1000 1000th Formula One World Championship race, won by Lewis Hamilton from Valtteri Bottas. And then it was Sebastian Vettel in third place in the Ferrari. If Ball can get P3 this race, I think he'll want to aim for a little bit better. So let's go on board for his first hot lap with the Ferrari driver Ball. He opens DRS and over the main straight he goes. This first sector is a long sweeping right-hander. And you might see a little bit of a different line from Ball than we might see from a different driver. A lot of different possibilities for the racing line here. Now exiting that complex of corners, and he finishes sector 1 with a 23.9 purple sector 1 for the time being, according to the minimap. Now it's a sweeping left-hander and then right-hander immediately after. Remember, in 2018 Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton battle here. The Red Bull driver with the fresher compound of tires being pushed off by Lewis Hamilton, all fair and square. And later in that race, Max got in an incident with Sebastian Vettel. And it was Daniel Ricciardo in 2018 who was victorious that race. Now Burrow onto the back straight, opening the DRS in just a few moments time. Now it's open. And what do you think of the recently revealed Ferrari for 2022? Leave it in the comments, because it is a drastic and a radical design. Black box now 131.4, and they'll hope to challenge for the championship this year. Burrow goes second fastest behind Kaya. Kaya set 31.0. Black box, who was momentarily fastest, 4 tenths down from them. And Damiano sets a 35.4. And I think he'll go for another lap on this run. Jerry van Bussel, championship leader, P3 behind Ball in P2 in the championship. And Jagizan fastest, 30.7, makes a huge leap, 3 tenths faster than Kaya. What can Damiano do? It's a 24.1 first sector from Damiano. Ball's first sector was almost 2 tenths faster. A little bit of a lift in this long sweeping left-hander, taking a lot of curb, keeping his Red Bull on the black stuff. And I don't think this will be the best lap for Damiano, but at least he gets a lap on the board. He's 2 tenths faster, so probably somewhere in this third sector he made a mistake or went off the power to go for another run immediately after. And the tire wear on this track is usually pretty high, and I expect some runners to use the hard tires in this race. Of course, the top 10 having to start on the tire they qualify on in this session. That are the rules of the short qualifying session. Damiano not invalidating his lap, coming towards the line, and it's a 31.3. Definitely not the lap that he would have aimed for. And Schalk, Davy's teammate, who is currently in P2 with a 30.9, 2 drives into 130s, he would want to attack his teammate's lap time of 30.9. And does he have the ability to do that? It looks a bit scruffy through this middle sector. Yellow sector 3. I think that's a Haas going slowly. A Haas of Joey on the track. Third sector looked pretty tight from Luke. Now on towards the back straight, and it's just a long straight down towards the hairpin. Who tries to get a little bit of slipstream from the Red Bull driver, who doesn't have enough fuel to return to the pits at full speed. Nicely hitting the apex, exiting the hairpin, and now it's just the final corner. That awkward left-hander not going over the wide line and not invalidating his lap, and it's a 31.6 for Luke, P10 only for him, and that is definitely not a good lap from the Mercedes driver. Black box into the pit lane. Damiano into the pit lane as well. And Luke does not have enough fuel to go for another run, and I don't think his tires would like another run as well. Now I think there's a Ferrari on the track at the moment. There is a Ferrari on the track. A lot of cars on the track actually, but looking at the mini-map. Sven has retired in the pit lane. Frankie is on the track. Jerry is on the track as well. Burrow, Jack is on the track as well. Okay, so it showed for a long time that they were still in the pit lane, but they're all out on track. Davey now exiting the pit lane as well, and Luke returning to the pit lane. Ball, the first driver to go into his second hot lap on those soft compound tires. Don't think we have seen a medium tire up till this point. And the number 21 Ferrari once again going for a hot lap. And our championship leader at the moment, let's go on board with Jerry. Let's go on board for his hot lap around the Shanghai International Circuit. What can he do to attack the pole position time of 1:30.7? He exits the final corner and goes for his second run of the day in this session. Turning in just after the 50-meter board, sticking close to the white line at the right hand side, nicely hitting the apex, going into the right hander and then once again towards the left hander, exiting that corner in third gear, and now it's up towards seventh gear and towards that hairpin at the end of the first sector. He's 1.5 times faster than he was previously. A little bit of a lockup on the left front tire, exiting that hairpin, and by 1.5 times improvement he would go to P4. Almost spins his McLaren around. He spins his McLaren around. Oh, Jerry is spun around, has been spun around, and now has the ability to go back into the pit lane, just trying aim around spot on the side, or just let the tires cool off a little bit and then go for another run. Bottle, I think, is not improving at the moment, while his teammate is on pole position. So both championship contenders having trouble in this session. Can Bottle improve in this final sector? He can, and he goes P3. Faster than Kaya. Kaya, though, is also improving. Yars goes third fastest. Fastest middle sector for Kaya in the Alpine. As now Yagizan, in a few seconds time, will cross the finish line. As Mika has joined the session, Sven has joined the session. They were later, and they are now into the session. They had an event. Yagizan won't complete his lap. Into the pit lane he goes. So he won't improve his provisional pole position time. Kaya, P5, can he improve on his position? He goes towards the line. Fastest middle sector, what can that bring him? It will bring him P1 for the moment. Kaya, fastest in qualifying up to now. Davey would want to go faster than Kaya. What can he do? He'll go faster, but can't improve his position. 1/100th of a second behind the Ferrari driver of Yagizan. While Luke is now going into his hot lap in the Mercedes. And the Red Bull driver now behind Black Box going into P4, 30.8. So it's now 5 drivers into the 130s. I think Ball will continue on. Yes, he has continued on. Will he go into the pit lane? Let's keep an eye on the right hand side. Luke going 2 times faster than he was previously, so he is definitely on a better lap than he was before. Let's go on board with Luke. He shifts down to 6th gear through this sweeping left-hander. Now this sweeping right-hander, 5th gear, turning in 3rd gear, and then a little bit on upshift, 4th gear and 5th gear now, exiting that corner. His second sector, he is almost 5 times faster. If he can find a little bit of time in this third sector, his teammate Davey will help with that, because he'll give him a little bit of a slipstream on this back straight. Davey doesn't have enough ERS. He is now using a little bit of ERS he has to give the slipstream to Luke. This will definitely be a better lap time from Luke, and I'm not at all surprised if this will be the provisional pole position time for the Mercedes driver. So let's go on board still with Luke. Through this final sector he goes. It's a good final corner for Luke. Now coming towards the line, and it is P2. Just a few 100ths of a second behind Kaya. Just not that pole position time he would have wanted. But P2 for the Mercedes driver is still a good point. And still a good position to start from in this race. Damiano is also on a hot lap. No, he is not. And Yagizan once again on his out lap. So this will be the final run of the Turkish driver. It's TF 1, 2, 3, 4 at the moment. The black box behind black box saying he can challenge for the win this race. And he will unleash his beast mode today. Hopefully for him that can be true. But let's go on board with Yagizan. Through that sweeping right-hander, his teammate Borrell goes out of the way for the Turkish driver. Good job by Borrell. Yagizan was a long-time professional pole sitter in this session. Can he keep that up? And can he remain on the front row or maybe go to pole position? 2.5 minutes left in this session. A lot of drivers still in the pit lane, opting to go for a late run in the session. Yagizan, not the first time we've seen this from him, opting to go for an early run. And it didn't look like the best middle sector from the Turkish driver, but it is still purple. 5/100ths of a second faster than he was previously. That would put him P2, but will it be good enough for pole position this lap? This final sector will be determining factor for his starting position. Will it be pole position? Will it be P2? Or will it remain P3 for the Turkish driver? Now it's just one corner left. Turn in after the 50-meter marker. He goes over the white line and invalidates his lap. No! And it was good enough for pole position. Oh, heartbreak for Yagizan, who now, I think, has enough time to return, to complete one more lap and then go for another hot lap, but then his tires will be done. Yagizan's teammate Borrell is now on a run. He's in P7 at the moment, P2 in the championship, P7 at the moment. He's 4/100ths faster than he was previously. Should go into the 130s if he can keep that up. And provisional pole position for Kaya is a 0.6, so he'll have to find a little bit more time in this middle sector ball and a little bit more time in the final sector. He finds a lot of time in that middle sector. He's 2 times faster than he was before, and now Yagizan will play the team game. He'll give the slipstream to Borrell, his teammate. Is that distance a little bit too big? I think it might be. Yagizan playing the team game here and nicely going out of the way for Borrell. So that is a good strategy by the Ferrari boys. Yagizan knows he can't improve and lets it all handle to Borrell. What can Borrell do? Borrell will go professional pole position. 1:30.600. Good lap from Borrell and a good slipstream from Yagizan as Davy now enters his final lap. Kaya is on his final run and is improved by 1.5 tenths. Now he lost some time in that middle sector and he is currently improving by 9/100ths of a second. That won't be good enough for pole position, and Borrell had a slipstream in this final sector. So can Kaya find some time in the hairpin or even at the final corner? Because at this straight he's losing all the time because of the slipstream that Borrell got from his teammate. Kaya is going through that hairpin. He is in P2. He is on the front row. But can he improve by going on to pole position? He hits the curb, goes over the white line and has invalidated his lap. And it wouldn't have been good enough for pole position anyway. Borrell is still on provisional pole. Davy is still completing his lap. The Red Bull of Damiano, I think, is now coming towards the line. Damiano goes P8. That isn't good enough for pole position. 1:30.8. Black Box has a 1:30.8 as of his own. Can he improve by just a few 100ths of 1/10
of a second to push his Red Bull a little bit farther up the grid. Yes, he can. He goes P3. Good lap from Black Box. Davey, though, still on his lap with Jerry van Bussel behind. Davey now out of the final corner, will cross the line, and he will go to P5 behind his teammate. Now, Jerry van Bussel, our championship leader, is not improving, and that means Barrel is on pole position for the Chinese Grand Prix. P2 in the championship, 1 point behind Jerry van Bussel in P10, and has this perfect starting position for the Grand Prix in just a few moments' time. Good lap by Barrel, and a perfectly executed strategy by Ferrari. Young's on his teammates sacrificed the opportunity to go for a lap and is in P6. And looking at the grid, all real close from P2 towards P6. All drivers within 1/10 of a second. The AlphaTauri boys real close to one another on track P7 and P8. Barrel will start the Grand Prix from pole position. And it's Kaya alongside him, a little bit under 1/10 of a second behind Barrel in the end. Black Box in P3, then was Luke, Davey, Yegizan, Fruitful, Jars, Damiano and Jerry the top 10. Then we have Ono, Frankie, Joey. P14 is Mika and 15 is Sven because they haven't set a lap time. They retired once they entered the session. And we'll have to wait for a few more seconds for the Grand Prix to start. Remember, no Q1, Q2 and Q3. This is, for once, a short qualifying session. And it is raining in qualifying as we predicted. Mitch in the chat saying the Ferrari is a nice car for 2022. I definitely agree with you, Mitch. Ferrari is an awesome car to see. But the Mercedes today, that has been revealed today, also looked very good. Once again, now returning to the silver livery. They used to run the black livery for 2 years, 2020 and 2021, because of the Black Lives Matter movement that Lewis Hamilton was involved in. And that was a reason why the Mercedes team decided to use the black livery on the Mercedes in solidarity with that movement. Now, back to our race. Barrel will start the formation lap now on the inter tire. And I'm curious if we'll see any dry running in this race. Let's see if anyone in the Discord has answered to that question. Yeah, Davey saying it's a full rain. So this entire session will be rainy. But we might see some dry running in the end. You'll never know what the weather in F1 21 will do. Ono was happy with his P11, but then of course it started to rain. Joey happy that he qualified in front of Mika and Sven, not the position he's usually in. But he'll make the best of it from P13. We're happy he's back and he's aiming for some more points. Points that he deserved and that he got in France in the sprint race. P10 for Joey there. Oh, there's an Alpine Frankie going off. And hopefully for Joey he had a nice holiday in Austria. But now he's back once again. Drivers are warming up their tires. Not sure if that has any benefit at the moment, because the track is cold and it is raining. But anyway, the drivers are now going to slot their cars into the grid positions. It's Borrell from Kaya from Black Box to your top 3. Then there's the 2 Mercedes guys behind. Another Ferrari of Yagizan, helping his teammate out in qualifying. Can he do the same in the race or move up the grid himself? Then it's Fruitful and Yars for AlphaTauri in P7 and 8, Damiano in P9. And P10 is for our championship leader, Jerry van Bussel. Let's go towards Ball in the Ferrari, and we are waiting for the lights to go on. 2, 3, 4, 5 lights on now. And the lights are out in a rainy Shanghai, and it's a good start from Ball and a good start from the Alpine as well. But look at the Mercedes flying off his start position. He's in P2 already. Good start from him. Kaya falling down the field, and Davey now on the inside, immediately going into P2 himself, beating out his teammate. Kaya now on the inside of his fellow Mercedes driver, so the Mercedes teammate of Davey, Luke, dropping back massively after his good getaway. Yagizal now into P5, Black Box into P4, and it's a cluster of cars reminiscent of Hungary in 2021. And I don't think any car has been spun around. No, that's a miracle in his own. Black Box now in P8, losing out massively in those starting exchanges. Was in P4 for a moment, but now into P8 as he is side by side with Frankie in the Alpine. Kaya already 1 second behind Davey. Frankie going off track momentarily. Black Box pushing his ERS, almost going into the back of Frankie. And now Yars in the inside takes nice advantage of that move made by Frankie, and is now on the outside of Black Box. Can he make the move stick? I don't think he can. He actually can. He overtakes Black Box nicely around the outside. Can Fruitful follow his teammate through? I think he has to stick behind for a little bit longer. And Black Box saying that he is able to challenge for the win today, and is now in P9. Jerry van Bussel falling down the grid a little bit in P12 now. Sven moving up. And Mika, having made his way past Joey, is now behind the second Haas of Ono. Ono also not getting a good start. Let's look at the starting exchanges. Frankie made an incredible start from P12, now in P7. And Sven and Jerry battling it out. Sven in P11 still. Jerry tried to make a move. He's still on the inside now. Can he make the move? Coming towards the hairpin. He is on the inside, and I think he has the move done. Yes, great move by Jerry. On the inside of the hairpin. Almost loses the back of his car, but keeps it on the road. Now it's just a little bit of a train, because you know it is hard to overtake in these conditions. Maybe we'll see the best of these drivers coming out. Frankie loses his car once again, going off track. Yars is looking racy here and is trying to attack Frankie. Frankie going a little bit deep into the left-hander now, and that means Yars is right on the gearbox of Frankie. Frankie's car looks really unstable at the moment. Yars is pushing his ERS, but so is Frankie in the Alpine. But still Yars is catching on the main straight. Will he go for the move the AlphaTauri? He will go for the outside line. Can't make it stick on the Alpine. But he lets himself known to Frankie. Kaya now setting the fastest lap of the race after losing out at the start. Ball still leading with on his heels Davy in the Mercedes. He's struggling towards this sweeping right-hander. Can Jars take any advantage of that? No, he can't. He stays behind the Alpine driver for now. Very behind Fruitful in P10. Final points being positioned. Black Box behind Jars isn't going for a move, so it's a little bit of a train still. And we're waiting for someone to make a mistake. Let's go towards the lead of the race. Davy putting pressure on the Ferrari driver. Davy in P3 in the championship. As we said, was in the lead coming into Silverstone. Lost out massively there. And now is battling with the man that is P2 in the championship. And the championship leader is all the way down in P11. So this might be the day for P2 and P3 in the championship. If they can battle it out fairly on track. We are in lap 3 of 25 here in China. And we have intermediate conditions still. And it looks like the weather conditions will remain the same for a few more laps to come. Ball goes wide out of the final corner, hopefully for him. It wouldn't have given him a warning. And that warning, of course, counts towards the 3 warnings in total. And when you have 3 warnings, you will get a 3-second time penalty. And those will add up if you get more warnings. So if you cross the white line multiple times in one race. Kaya is finding it difficult to follow Davy in the Mercedes. 1.1 seconds behind still and isn't catching up. 1.2 seconds even momentarily. You can just see the driver's taking a little bit of a different line towards the sweeping left and right hander. Black Box gaining on Jars through that sector. That was a frantic first lap. Positions remaining the same for the last few laps. And I'm certain that these positions are going to change come pit stops and come mistakes by drivers. Frankie made a mistake and is pushing more ERS than Jars is in his AlphaTauri. He's on at 30% Frankie. Jars is at 50%, 20% more ERS. You are gaining back a lot of ERS in the wet conditions, but still Frankie is pushing more ERS than the drivers behind to stay in front. Mika now in P13 has overtaken Onno in the Haas and is now behind Sven. Sven 1.1 seconds behind Jerry. So the 2 drivers that started last in the race haven't been able to make up the position that they would have liked to. And aren't catching up massively to the group of cars in front of them. The first of those drivers is Jerry van Bussel that they'll meet on track. Joey having finding it difficult to keep up with his teammate. He's almost 8 seconds behind Onno. Onno is holding up pretty well, as finally there is some battling going on. Jars is making the move on Black Box. I think Black Box was making a move on Jars, but Jars got back at him immediately. So the driver is showing that they are able to fight in these conditions. Any mistake whatsoever might prove fatal for these drivers in falling back down the field, as Jars is now looking for a move on Frankie in the Alpine, because once again Frankie gets a bad exit. Now he's at 50% once again. Now Jars is catching up massively on Frankie. Frankie, will he go for the inside? Yes, he will. Jars moves to the outside line. Can he go around the outside of the Alpine driver at the hairpin? Yes, he can. And McLaren behind, making the move. Jerry making the move on Fruitful as well. Good move by the McLaren. And Frankie still in front of the AlphaTauri driver. Yes, he is still in front. Good defensive work by Frankie. It doesn't look like he has the pace, but he keeps the drivers behind at bay. Good job by him. Fruitful now, once again going for a move on Jerry, goes for the inside, nice opportunistic move, as now once again Jars and Frankie are battling. Can Fruitful go around the outside of Jerry in the McLaren? It's a good battle by these two, and Fruitful hangs on around the outside and makes the move work once again. Good move by Fruitful, but now coming into the hairpin, Jars and Frankie are battling once again. Frankie is now relegated down to P7. Make that P8 as Blackbox almost made the move on Jars. And Frankie now makes the move back at Jars. He's in P7 now once again. And Jerry still on the rear of Fruitful. Good battling in the rainy conditions here. Awesome to see. Fruitful almost loses his car. Jerry is pushing a little bit of ERS. Will he go for a move? No, he won't. Fruitful went a little bit deep. Does it give encouragement to Jerry to go for a move on the AlphaTauri driver? And it looks like amazing traction for Jerry here. Fruitful does not get the best exit. He is trying to defend the inside line though. Fruitful is pushing the ERS. Jerry is pushing the ERS well. Fruitful now has the inside line. Jerry goes for the inside line. Jerry with an amazing switchback move. Wow, what a move by Jerry, our championship leader. And the other McLaren of Mika almost tries to make the move as well. Can he make the move on the AlphaTauri driver? No, he can't. But that move, as almost Fruitful lost his car and now is overtaken by the McLaren. That was a great move by Jerry. As now Jars and Blackbox are battling. Jars in P9. Blackbox moved himself up into P8 as now he tries to go around the outside of Frankie here. Can he make that move work? No, he can't, as Frankie almost loses his car. Blackbox wants to go for a move at the hairpin after the first sector. Will he go for the move? No, he won't. Frankie brakes later. Might Blackbox be able to make a switchback? No, he can't. That was some amazing racing by these drivers in this train. It was a train. I was telling you a few laps ago that it was a train. But these drivers do have the ability to race in these conditions as well. Not only drive, but racing in these conditions is a very different thing. And these drivers are pulling it off. Great job by them. And especially by Jerry van Bussel and Fruitful. That battle was amazing to see. Amazing job by Jerry getting past the AlphaTauri driver into the hairpin. Now Jerry is looking at the rear of Jars. Can he make another move as Blackbox now is trying to make the move on Frankie. Frankie covers the inside. Will he go for a move into the hairpin? Blackbox is momentarily ahead, but there's the inside line for the Alpine. As now once again Jerry tries to go for a move at the hairpin. He has the inside line momentarily, but the AlphaTauri driver has the better run. As Frankie now gets a 3-second time penalty, gets a bad exit out of the final corner. Blackbox takes advantage of that, and he moves himself up into P7 momentarily, but Frankie has the inside line. Oh, they almost come together, but Blackbox still hangs around the outside. Will he complete the move? No, he won't. Blackbox still behind Frankie. Frankie, awesome defending here from the Alpine, and fair racing to all of these drivers. This is yellow. Oh no, yellow! Oh, as we said, fair racing. Jerry has been turned around. I don't know if that was due to contact or if that was due to a mistake. And what is Sven doing here? I think he made a mistake as well. I think they came into contact with one another. That might be a possibility. I haven't seen it well enough to comment on that. Oh, I don't think Sven has any grip whatsoever on these tires at the moment. Overtaken by Joey in the Haas. And now Joey into P14, making up one position once more. Slowly moving his way up into the points paying positions. Ono with 3-second time penalty as well, behind Fruitful. And I'm curious what happens between Jerry and maybe Sven. Still guessing that they came into contact with one another. That I don't know for sure. Davey, meanwhile, got a 3-second time penalty as now Black Box. Frankie once again battling. Black Box momentarily on the right hand side. Look at the right hand side. He was on the outside line. Frankie once again defending from Black Box. Great job by him. Now Black Box pushing his ERS. Frankie not defending the inside line, and Black Box, oh, Frankie hangs on around the outside. Can he go around the outside, Frankie? Can he hang on to P7 momentarily? He is now in P8, but Frankie once again with that inside line. Can he hang on to P7? I don't think he can. A little bit of contact with Black Box, and now Black Box moves his way up into P7 as Frankie goes for a dive on Black Box. I think that was fair because Black Box wasn't turning in at that point. Black Box now side by side with Yars, and still towards this right sweep again. Oh no, Frankie loses his car. Momentarily off track, overtaken by 4 cars there. Fruitful into the points being positions Mika into P9. Black Box and Yars now battling. Black Box holding on to P7. And Mika trying to go for the inside on Yars. And he had the inside, but now has the outside line. And now once again the inside line for Mika. He takes P8 from Yars. Yars makes a mistake. And now it's teammates battling one another on track. Yars is trying to get the slipstream from Mika. Mika, meanwhile, trying to get the slipstream from Black Box. Weaving on the straight a little bit, all these drivers. Fruitful locking up there. And I'm curious what the strategies will be this race. Will there be any non-stoppers in this race? As is yellow, sector 3, I think that's Sven. Yes, that is Sven. He's onto the gravel. Yagiza, meanwhile, in P3, under pressure still from Kaya and Luke behind in the Mercedes. The other Mercedes battling for the lead with Borrell, finding it difficult to keep up without getting penalties, it seems, because Davey does have the 3-second time penalty. For this moment in time, he has the 3 seconds. That might be more at the end of the race. But due to all that battling, it has become really 2 different races here at China. From P1 to P6, it is all pretty close, except for Yagizan being 3.3 seconds down from Davey. But from P7 onwards, the gap is at 8.8 seconds. Sven has retired in the pit lane. We have our first retirement in this race. Mika seemingly not being able to keep up with Black Box. Black Box now gaining a little bit of time on Damiano, his teammate. But you can just see how much time they all lost due to the battling that was going on. Luke now on Kaya. Can he make the move work on Kaya? He goes for the inside at the hairpin and makes the move work. Good work by the Mercedes driver. And now Kaya is in P5 under pressure from Damiano in the Red Bull. Joey now 22 seconds behind in P14. And now is 11.8. Looked like a bug. Ono gets another 3-second time penalty in the Haas at the final corner. Difficult corner to keep within the white line. Jerry van Bussel now still in P12 after that mistake, after that moment of contact. Frankie coming into the pit lane. He made a mistake somewhere. He has retired in the pit lane. So we have our second retirement in this race. Joey moving up to P13 meanwhile. Now, Borrell still leading the way in his scarlet red Ferrari from the Mercedes of Davey. And behind them, the battle looks very much alike. Yagizan from Luke
in the Mercedes. So it's Ferrari, Mercedes, Ferrari, Mercedes. I'll be happy if we'll see that in real Formula 1. And just a few weeks' time, remember. Bahrain is not that far away. And I can't wait to see the new cars out on track. It looks like Ball has this all under control. But you can make a mistake at any point in this race. And it's still 17 laps left in this race. When Ball crosses the line, start lap 12. Kaya now, a 3-second time penalty in P5. Crossed the wide line at the exit of the final corner one time too many. And has a 3-second time penalty of his own. Once again, the AlphaTauri boys behind one another on track P9 and P10. Let's look at the different positions gained and lost. Mika, of course, coming from the back of the grid, has one of the most positions, is in the points paying positions in P8, in front of both AlphaTauris. Sven, the other driver starting at the back, has since retired in the pit lane. So Sven is out, and the other driver starting at the back is in P8. Davey making up 3 positions. Yagizan making up 3 positions. Yagizan's gaining a little bit of time on Davey. To be exact, 0.3 of a second in that middle sector alone. He is on a personal best lap in this lap 12 of his, but he went a little bit wide or deep into that left-hander. That might hamper his progress a little bit. 1 second behind him is the Mercedes of Luke still. Fruitful closest to any other driver on track, and that is to Jars, his teammate. Fruitful is pushing, so is Jars. Jars has a lot less ERS than Fruitful has, and now Fruitful has drained the energy of Jars to under 10%, as we see the first driver starting to pit. So drivers are starting to pit for new Inter tires. Oh, Fruitful going a lot wider than he should, and yes, of course, that is a 3-second time penalty. Oh no! Jars! Oh, Jars! He came into contact, I think, with Mika. And one of the drivers got a 5-second time penalty. I think that's Jars who got a 5-second time penalty. What happened there? I think coming into the pit lane that they made a mistake. I think Luke made a mistake as well on track. What has happened to Luke? He went very deep into that hairpin. Does he have a front wing left or an end plate? Is he missing an end plate? I think he's missing an end plate. What happened? Coming into the pit lane, of is this a different incident? He does not have the downforce that he should have. Meanwhile, of course, due to that moment, Luke is now in P5 and it's a Ferrari 1-2 at the moment. Yagizan in P2 and then Ball in P1. Red Bull 3 and 4 in the race. So it all unfolded here, and we couldn't catch it all on camera. But it's Ferrari 1-2 as Fruitful now makes a move on Luke. And Ono behind as well, pushing. Okay, so let's look at the stops made. You don't have to make a pit stop in these conditions. Remember, the Inter conditions, it is not required to make a pit stop. So I'm curious if any other driver is thinking the same as I am, namely not to make a pit stop at all in this race, or the tire wear might just be a little bit too high for that idea. Still, Ono, he was at the back, is now in P4 because he didn't make his pit stop as of yet. And if he can hold up Davey just a little bit, or if he doesn't lose time to Davey as much as you expect from new tires,
it might be the strategy just to stay out. Ono is improving on his old Inter, so he is pushing. Other track is just getting better and better. Is it worth it to just stay out on track on those old Inters? Ball and Jackson are losing time to the new Inter runners. So are they staying out, or will one of them box? It is their podium to lose. If they box too late and are overtaken by all the other runners, Barrel will be the first driver to cross the pit lane. He will now go into the pit lane. Yagizan, of course, will continue on. So he might still be on the zero stopper. Damiano into the pit lane for Red Bull. I don't think realistically the zero stopper is possible at all, due to the high tire wear that this track usually has in the dry conditions. Might be the same in the wet conditions. Look at all those sweeping corners. This will cost a lot of tire. Jurgen doesn't have a 3-second time penalty. Davy set the fastest lap of the race. He is now in P2. Ball behind him after the pit stop. So Davy gained a lot of time by boxing earlier than the Ferrari. Ball, long time leader in this race. Davy was chasing him all the time, but now Davy is in P2 in front of Ball. Yagizan, remember, still has to pit. Ball is maybe overdriving his Ferrari in frustration that he has been overtaken by the Mercedes, but still the race is long and Ball has every chance of overtaking Davy once again. Ono behind Fruitful in the AlphaTauri, just 6 tenths behind him. Luke and Jerry van Bussel. Jerry is in front of Luke. How did that happen? Luke, of course, had to replace his front wing, and that meant that Jerry, with his incident from earlier on in the race, is now ahead of at least one car. Now Young's on into the pit lane. I expect him to come out around Kaya Damiano, maybe behind Kaya due to his late pit stop. And we'll see the Ferrari boys changing the Inters for new Inters. And out he goes, the Turkish driver. I think he'll be ahead of Kaya, just. Or will this be closer than we might have expected? It is very close here between Kaya and Yagizan, but Kaya remains behind Yagizan. Now Black Box, fastest lap of the race. He is pushing his Inters to the max and is chasing down his teammate first. 7.3 seconds the gap, and that is coming down all the time. Ball now within 1 second of Davy, 8 tenths to be precise, and he is putting the pressure on the Mercedes driver. And the number 2 and number 3 of the championship today have a good race up to now. Anything can happen. Remember that the conditions might suddenly change. A safety car might happen. You never know what can happen in a race. And you can't bet anything on a 1-2 finish for Davy and Paul, because you never know what will happen. Yagizan in P3 means a double podium for Ferrari. Yagizan moving just a little bit to keep Kaya out of his slipstream. Looking at the ERS deployment of Kaya, Kaya has 1% of ERS left. Yagizan 42% of ERS left. Most of the time Yagizan used a lot of his battery at the start of the race, and usually for the rest of the race does not have enough battery to defend. But in this moment, Yagizan uses his battery very well and keeps hold of third position ahead of Kaya. Kaya, meanwhile, got another time penalty. Damiano is now chasing the Alpine driver down in his Red Bull. I don't think the conditions will change, but you never know. Still looking a little bit overcast. Remember, Davy with his time penalty will lose the lead of the race to Bottle if it finishes like this. So the only thing Davy can do is just race his heart out, keep hold of P1, and hope for a time penalty for Ball. Tenths of a second now. The gap between Ball and Davy. Damiano improving his previous fastest lap. Black box slower than he was previously. He set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix 2 laps ago. Just things calming down a little bit in this race. Joey in P12, meanwhile, he is 40 seconds down on Luke in P11. Speaking about Luke in P11, he is still behind Jerry, but only 4/10 of a second behind Jerry. Might he take that point for fastest lap or P10 away from the McLaren driver? So McLaren driver goes a bit wide coming out of the hairpin. Luke doesn't accelerate as well as he should. That's a mistake. Mistake! Oh no! Mistake by Fruitful. I think he hit the curb and he's now in P11. Oh, that's awful to see from the AlphaTauri driver. He had such a good race in battling other drivers, but now is in P11. And without the help of a safety car, his race is helpless up to this point. He only has Joey behind him in P12, 46 seconds behind. Fruitful. Awful for him. Saw him in the wall exiting that final corner. It does not appear that Fruitful has a wing damage, but of course his tires will have felt that impact. Barr now losing a bit of touch with Davy. Gap went over 1 second there momentarily, while gaining back a little bit of time on the straight. Davy not having any ERS whatsoever, Barrel having almost 30% of ERS left. So also looking to the ERS, Barrel is looking stronger. Now Barrel went over that white line. I think he has another warning. Let's look at the different warnings in the race. It's one warning, only one warning. So that wasn't a warning for Bottle, luckily for him. Luke now once again on the rear of Jerry. Once again, Luke getting a bad exit out of that hairpin, losing the rear of his car. Bottle gaining back a lot of time now. Once again, 8/10 of a second behind Davy. The gap being a little bit stable at the moment. Fruitful in the pit lane. I expect him to retire. No, he won't retire. He'll hold on to P11 because Joey isn't close enough to take that position away. But he's hoping for a safety car, Fruitful, and that is definitely not out of the possibilities. That might still happen. And Fruitful is there to pounce if that will happen. I do think it was all Fruitful's own mistake coming out of the final corner. Unfortunately for him, but he's now trying to catch up, or wait at least, for a safety car. Borrell and Davy. Davy going wide at the hairpin. Borrell now 6/10 of a second behind Davy, putting the pressure on the Mercedes driver. Borrell now once again going wide. That certainly has to be a warning. Still no warning for Ball. Very lucky for him. He just keeps within the white lines. But still on 1 warning, Davy on 3 seconds. So the advantage lies still with Ball to have a better result at the end of the race. And don't forget, Davy has the older tires. Ball pitted later and has the better tires out of these two. If Ball finishes the way he is looking to finish, like P1 or P2, he'll take the lead in the Drivers' Championship. And Davy will take P2. Jerry will fall down to P3. Gaps all over 1 second, except at the front of the field. So, no, Ono is also within 1 second of Mika. 9 tenths the gap between those two drivers. Looking at Davy, he has the Ferrari in his rear. A little bit of a slow burner in this one. And still, this year, I don't think China is on the F1 2022 calendar. And might not be the first circuit that everyone thinks of when having in mind those great tracks. But China is an awesome track, in my opinion. Might not get the appreciation that it deserves, but it has proven that it can produce good races in the past. Think of Daniel Ricciardo's action in 2018. Oh, yellow flag, yellow flag, yellow flag. Is that fruitful? Once again fruitful. No, he's definitely out. Yeah, once again making a mistake. Once again his own fault. Oh, he goes off the track. Oh, tries to keep on the black stuff. And he is pissed off at himself for messing up his own race. I do think he'll head into the pit lane to retire now. Yes, he will head into the pit lane to retire. Now let's go on board with Ono. Ono is catching up to Mika in the McLaren. He's only a few tenths behind. Now Fruitful has retired in the pit lane and has been overtaken by Joey. Well, Mika going deep into that corner. Will that give encouragement to Ono to go for the move? Mika almost loses his car. Ono is pushing his ERS. Oh no, Davy once again getting a 3-second time penalty. That will give the opportunity to Yagizan to take second position if he can keep up with Ball and Davy. So this might be a Ferrari 1-2 in the making. And Mika under massive pressure from Ono behind. Mika defending the inside line. He is pushing his ERS. You can just see that. He has 70% of ERS left. Good management by Mika. But in the corners, the Haas is gaining all the time. They get 5 tenths. So we went on around 4 tenths. Mika definitely not safe here for P7 in the race. Let's look at the different penalties that everyone has. 6 seconds from Davy, 9 seconds from Kaya. He'll found down to P6. Definitely to P6. Then it's Mika with a 5-second time penalty due to collision. That might be removed, I don't know for sure. Ono with a 9-second time penalty. Then it's Jerry with a 3-second time penalty. Might get the position of Ono, and if he has 3 seconds of his own, so won't take Mika's position for now. Joey has a 3-second time penalty as well. Damiano close to the rear of Kaya. He was the entire race trying to catch up with the Alpine and now has caught up with Kaya and is in these difficult conditions trying to go for a move. Haven't seen the conditions change all race. So it's just a few more laps towards the end of the race. Kaya going wide and Damiano gaining time on the Alpine. The gap is at 0.6 of a second, 0.5 of a second. Kaya getting a worse exit than Damiano momentarily because Kaya gained more time at the second acceleration. I think Damiano is putting the pressure on Kaya fully here. Kaya is feeling that pressure. Of course, with the time penalty that Kaya has, he will lose the position. But it is great to make the overtake on track, and Damiano knows that. Blackbox, meanwhile, has his entire race been a bit invisible of the position he is driving in. But he is gaining and gaining a lot of time. As now Damiano and Kaya are side by side. Kaya made a mistake coming out of the second sector. Kaya going deep, and Damiano trying to get the better run out of this sweeping right-hander. Kaya almost loses his car and going off track. Oh, will this give the move to Damiano? Damiano is pushing his ERS. Kaya is pushing a little bit of ERS he has as well. Now, coming into the hairpin, the outside line for Damiano. Can he switch back on the Alpine driver? He tries to go for the inside, can't go for the inside. Remains behind Kaya for now. And on towards the main straight, Kaya gets the better exit, and that remains, leaves Kaya MP4 as now Ono made the move on Mika. That was a long time coming. Mika falling down after a great race by him to just gain a few positions from the back of the grid, but now relegated down to P8 once again. Damiano once again really close to Mika. Kaya, can he go for a move on Kaya? No, he won't at the happen as of yet. Stays behind Kaya. But this is going to be a battle till the bitter end of this Chinese Grand Prix. And still in front, Davey leading the way. 0.8 of a second once again, and still, I have to say, still the gap is at 0.8 now. Davey losing a little bit coming out of that sweeping right-hander. Still at 0.7 and is safe coming towards that hairpin from an attack of Bommel. Yagizan is gaining a lot of time on his teammate now. 1.9 the gap. Damiano is now pushing ERS to gain time on Kaya. Will he go for the move at the hairpin? Kaya defending. Damiano wanting to go for a move, but didn't go for a move. Still remains behind the Alpine. And this will be lap 25 out of 28 here. Davey still in the lead. Oh, but lost a lot of time through that first sector. The gap now at 3.5 tenths. 19% of ERS for Davey. 30% of ERS for Ball. And the gap at 3 tenths. Davey is feeling the pressure, almost loses the rear end of his car. 4 tenths the gap. It is difficult to follow though through this middle sector, and that leaves Ball just a few more attempts behind than he would like, coming out of the sweeping right-hander in just a few corners time, because at the hairpin is the place to make a move on Davey. 4.5 tenths. Ball going a bit deep into that corner, as we see a lot of drivers do. Can Ball get a better exit than Davey? No, Davey manages to get a clean exit all the time out of this corner, but Ball now is pushing ERS. He is trying to go for a move on the Mercedes. Davy is defending the inside line, is using all the ERS he has. He tries to go for the outside line ball, but Davy keeps hold of P1 for now. And now Davy has the advantage in ERS. No, actually they are on the same level of ERS deployment. But Davy gets a worse exit. Ball gets a better exit. Now is gaining once again on Davy. So this battle also will go down to the wire. Ball tries to go for the inside here. Can't make that move work. Has to wait a little bit longer. That would have been a very opportunistic move. Going a bit wide. That seems to be his racing line. As we said in qualifying, multiple racing lines are possible through there. And Yagizan has caught up to the pair of them. And remember, Davy having a 6-second time penalty. Yagizan doesn't have a time penalty. Burl doesn't have a time penalty. So this race might be going to Burl or Yagizan. And you never know what might happen. The two Ferraris might crash. We might not. We might see that happen. We have no idea what will happen in these final 2.5 laps of the Chinese Grand Prix. But Davy, for certain, is under massive pressure from Ball. Almost got hit by the Ferrari driver. Now a good exit from Ball is needed to go for a move on Davy. Davy does get a good exit once again, but he goes defensive, the Mercedes driver, and he is using his ERS. He is weaving on the straight a little bit. Burrow is gaining and gaining in the slipstream, and with the help of the ERS, Yagizan falling back a little bit further. Damiano can't get past Kaya yet. Yes, he can. Kaya going wide, but has to settle for 5th place. Damiano still. These guys are still fighting. Kaya and Damiano similar levels of ERS. Maybe going wide through that sweeping right-hander at the start. Turn 1 and turn 2. As we said, that is his racing line. Remember Kimi Raikkonen in 2019 having a different line as well through that first sector. And it's just the line that you personally find the best to use. You find preferable. We will see from every driver. Lap 27 of 28. Still Davy in the lead of the race. Paul will give it his all for these final 1.5 laps. Yagizan will give it his all for these final 1.5 laps to go for a move. Black Box has caught up massively to the guys in front. He'll move up to P5 certainly because of the time penalty for Kaya, but he would like to get a move on his teammate. Kaya going wide once again, now looking for the lead of the race. Ball still behind Davy. Got very close. How about Damiano? He is still behind Kaya, and Blackbox is still gaining. Now, the final lap of the race is now underway. Davy is leading from Burrow, from Yagizan, and these drivers are now going to give it their all. Burrow makes a mistake. Can now Yagizan profit from that and go for a move? As meanwhile, Blackbox is giving it his all to make a move on Damiano. He has set the fastest lap of the race, showing that he has a lot of pace in these intermediate conditions. Yagizan 4.5 temps behind his teammate. Burrow 5 temps behind Davy. It looks like it is going the way of Davy on track, but it is still not the end of this race. Damiano and Kaya are still fighting on track. Kaya keeps hold of the third position, also on track, because he has a lot of time penalties. 9 seconds I think, and that will demote him a few more positions. Burrow and Davy. Burrow will get the win if it finishes like this. But he would like to get the move on track. Can he make the move on Davy in this final sector? Davy gets a good exit out of this final corner. Looking at the ERS levels of Davy, he has the same level of ERS as Burrell, so he might be able still to defend from the Ferrari driver. Yes, he is able to defend from Burrell. Burrell in P2, Yagizan in P3. It is so close here for the lead of the race, but it is going the way on track of Davy in the Mercedes. It is going to be Davy who finishes on top in China on track, but it is Burrell who wins in China. Burrell in the Ferrari wins the Grand Prix and takes the lead of the championship. And in formation, Yagizan and Burrell, a 1-2 for Ferrari after the time penalty that had been applied. And that was closer than Burrell will have liked in the end. 2/100ths of a second in the end. The gap between Burrell and Yagizan, as Mika got a 5-second time penalty in the end. He's now in P9, Yari in P8. But a good race from Burrell, kept it clean, kept it well under control behind Davy, knew that Davy had those seconds of time penalties. And takes the win here in China and the championship lead. Now let's invite Burrell to the interview. It was a good race from the Ferrari driver. And let's ask him a few questions about his race. Burrell, where is Burrell? Oh, I can't unfortunately add him to the interview because of his party settings or because of his privacy settings. So that means I think we'll end the stream right here. Joey is still going to finish his lap. He maybe is going for the fastest lap of the race. That's momentarily in the hands of Blackbox. Joey won't get that fastest lap of the race. So Blackbox got the fastest lap. And it is Burrell on top here in China. Leader of the championship now as well. Yagizan, driver of the day. I think that is deserved. He had a very good race in the end. A bit of an unfortunate qualifying session, but a great job by him in the race. Almost got the win in the end. 2/100ths of a second in it. But it is a Ferrari 1-2 nonetheless. And Ferrari on fire these last few races. Can they keep that going at round 8 next week? So this was the stream for round 7 at China. Hopefully you have enjoyed the race, and we'll see you once again next time. So thank you for